Sammy? These election results coming in, we know it's fixed. I mean, it's stolen. This crime, it's gonna be a theft in plain sight. And Trump is going after her like, well, what are you, blind? He did say that. I think he called her a loser, though. So very disruptive, but powerful event. Anyway, your thoughts on it, Victor?
There's two things going on there. One is Trump's instinct. So Trump was a veteran of the 2020 election. He was the primary loser in that, literally and primarily. And he lost Arizona and Georgia and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan by about 55,000 votes. Some of them those states were 10,000 votes. And everybody remembers that evening, about 9 o'clock Pacific, with Donald Trump ahead in all of those, and then going to bed thinking he won, and he lost. And all of those had changed their voting laws to varying degrees, whether about registration or mail-in or early, under the guise of COVID. Mark Elias and his legal team, funded by all these left-wing organizations, had targeted all these states and had the state legislature saying, well, COVID is going to be here forever and you can't go out and everybody's going to be disenfranchised. So you have to mail out ballots from the disability office, the building permit office, everything. And Trump then just saw what was happening with the late ballots and he correlated it to what happened to him. And she was saying, what evidence do you have? And then he didn't even think that warranted reply. But he could have said, because he was right, he could have said, you people in California mail out ballots to people who just come in contact with state offices. And here is what is worse about you. If somebody signs his name and it's incorrect, you say if it's correct, if it's 40% correct. At least they do in Los Angeles. So if I say my name is Victor Davis Hanson and then somebody writes Victor Day, D-A, that's good enough. And worse yet, here we are in 2026. It's not 1870 on the frontier and people make a mark. Think about that. So you're illiterate and you can't write your name, but you can be an informed voter. So how do you read the ballot pamphlet information that's mailed out? Well, you don't. And so under our protocols, you can just make a mark and then anybody can sign their name as a witness, anybody. And that person can sign that name again and again. So you could take a lot of ballots that were mailed and just put X, Y, Z, curly Q, exclamation, whatever your mark is, and then one person could just say Victor Hanson, witness, and that's legitimate. And they don't ever check that. And it's not. And so what Trump was saying is your whole system is corrupt, and it's always corrupt in one direction. In other words, the people who make a mark and the witnesses vote left-wing, and the people who mail out all the ballots are left-wing, and the people who harvest the ballots, for the most part, are left-wing. And our voters tend to either send in mail ballots very early because they're very conscientious, or they show up in person. And your voters either mail them in at the last moment, which they shouldn't be able to do if they arrive after Election Day, but they're allowed to within a certain time frame. And they organize collectively unions to go out and canvass neighborhoods and ask them, do you have a ballot in your home? If you do, we can witness it. And that is the best interpretation. The worst interpretation is, give me your ballot that you got, and we will witness and put a mark on it. It seems absurd, but it's true. And that's what Donald Trump, things like that is what he was objecting to.
Well, it was...
and he knows that it was just like under the third assassination. Was it Norah O'Donnell? Was one of the infamous reporters who were asking him how he felt, and then they said, and how did you feel when they called you a pederast, rapist? Remember that the African American third would-be assassin who crashed the White House
Mhm.
Correspondents' Dinner, and he wrote that manifesto that Donald Trump was an Epstein pervert,
Right.
pedophile, rapist, or something. And then she repeated it.
Gosh.
And he said, "I'm none of those things.
Yeah.
You're a horrible person. You just got that in." That was what she did.
Yeah.
And that was the purpose. And that's why the assassin wrote that, because he knew people would cover it and broadcast that lie.